Before the fight, Gervonta Davis and Lomant Roach got into a verbal jab and dissed each other in X. It all started when Lomant Roach Jr. responded to a conversation involving Gervonta Davis and an external party on X offering to spar with Davis for a fee. The conversation implied Davis will need serious sparring partners to prepare for future fights. He wrote, "He gonna need to spar you, brah, no funny." Roach's tweet adds a playful tone, suggesting Davis might need heavier sparring partners, further poking at Davis's preparation and readiness. Gervonta Davis replied with confusion after seeing Lomant Roach Jr.'s playful jab, where Roach suggested Davis might need a stronger sparring partner. Davis seemed unsure of what Roach was implying. He replied, "What is this supposed to mean?" Davis's response showed that he was curious about Roach's previous comment, likely questioning whether Roach was serious or simply trying to provoke a reaction. The exchange indicated an ongoing back and forth between the two, with Roach pushing buttons and Davis seeking clarification. In this tweet, Lomant Roach Jr. replied with a nail polish emoji, possibly suggesting he's unbothered by the comments and ready to handle the challenge. The quoted tweet from AJ Boxing 22 mentioned that Davis needs to spar with someone heavy, implying Roach is coming prepared for their eventual clash. Sharing, translation, "You need to spar someone heavy cause he coming with it." Roach's subtle response hints at his confidence, using the emoji to show he's relaxed despite the mounting tension between him and Davis. Gervonta Davis responded to Lomant Roach Jr.'s subtle jab, warning Roach to be careful with his words. Davis implied that too much talking could have negative consequences, likely referring to an impending clash between the two fighters. His tone was playful but carried an underlying threat, reminding Roach of his experience. Tank said, "I advise you not to talk so much. It can be bad for you. You know that already, though." Davis's message was clear. Roach should be cautious about what he says, or it could come back to haunt him in the ring. Lomant Roach Jr. clapped back at Gervonta Davis, making it clear that he wasn't like any of Davis's previous opponents. Roach was confident and dismissive, suggesting that Davis might be underestimating him. His tone carried both humor and seriousness, setting the stage for more tension between the two fighters. Lomant responded, "You must think I'm one of them regular guys you fought or something. Lol, cut it out measy." Roach's response highlighted his self-assuredness and his intent to prove he's a different caliber of fighter. Gervonta Davis responded to Lomant Roach Jr.'s bold statement with a short, dismissive reply. Davis implied that Roach's words didn't faze him, signaling confidence and telling Roach to stay quiet. His tone was casual yet firm, showing he wasn't bothered by Roach's attempt to downplay his previous fights. Davis wrote, "Say nothing." The anticipated matchup between Gervonta Davis and Lomant Roach has drawn significant attention, as well as criticism from the boxing community towards itself. Both fighters hold major titles, with Davis being the WBA lightweight champion and Lomachenko claiming the IBF belt. Talks around this high-stakes fight have been in the works, and while a specific date was discussed for the end of 2024, Lomachenko has taken some time off. The fight could be a pivotal event if the negotiations solidify. Greg Hackett discussed the dynamic between Lomant Roach Jr. and Davis, highlighting their contrasting personalities. Hackett explained that while Roach is a laid-back, gentlemanly figure who doesn't exude the same intimidating energy as Davis, he's still a talented fighter. Hackett humorously added that even if Roach tried to intimidate an opponent, it might not work because of his calm demeanor. On the other hand, Hackett emphasized that Davis, with his tattoos and intense look, gives off a more intimidating and aggressive vibe, making him appear a little unhinged in the ring.
To the people who know Lomant and to the people who know boxing and been around, it's a good fight. But what is missing is that flair. Lomant isn't that type of guy. He a gentleman. He laid back. He ain't, even if, all right, Lomant the kind of guy, like, even if he tried to intimidate you, you wouldn't be fully intimidated because his eyes green, light-skinned boy. You know what I'm saying? He don't look like super mean boy. You feel what I'm saying? Tank got the tattoos, his eyes off a little bit. He looked crazy.
Greg Hackett further elaborated on the significance of the fight between Lomant Roach Jr. and Gervonta Davis, emphasizing their shared history and the local excitement surrounding the matchup. He pointed out that both fighters know each other well, which makes it a significant event for their region, particularly in the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. Hackett described the potential bout as a massive fight, especially for the local fans, recognizing the weight it carries in their part of the country.
We looking for another so-called big fight, when really, honestly true, this is a good fight. Lomant Roach knows Tank Davis. Tank Davis knows Lomant Roach. It's a local fight. It's big for their part of town, DMV.
That shit is huge.
I say do it.
For the DMV.
I say do it. Massive.
Greg Hackett continued by addressing the comparisons between Lomant Roach Jr. and Gervonta Davis, noting that both had recently faced Hector Garcia, a sign that they are competing at the same level. Hackett argued that people shouldn't claim Davis is picking easy opponents, as Roach holds a title and has a shared history with Davis. He said, let's be real, they both fought Hector Garcia, the level of boxing. Tank only fought him like a year and a half ago, so then you got Lomant for him right after Tank. So that is the same level of boxing. They have a history, they know each other, but I think the only thing missing is that flair, as if it was a Ryan Garcia or Devin Haney, all the attention been on them for some years. Mickey Bay, a former lightweight world champion and respected boxing trainer, praised Gervonta Davis for his ability to deliver exciting performances and close out fights in spectacular fashion. Bay, acknowledging Davis's skills, made it clear that the upcoming fight with Lomant Roach shouldn't be dismissed as an easy win for Davis. Bay also pointed out that the fight makes sense, given their shared roots in the DMV area.
Tank do his thing, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, he closed the show and he get the people what they want. You can't say it's a cherry pick because dude is a young, hungry champion, and it makes sense. They from like the DMV area.
They arguably the same size.
Mickey Bay expanded on why Gervonta Davis's fight with Lomant Roach makes business sense, despite fans wanting to see Davis face other opponents. Bay emphasized that Roach is a champion with a solid record, and their shared roots in the DMV area add significance to the fight. He also acknowledged that other than Canelo, Davis is one of the most popular fighters globally, which gives him the privilege of making business-driven matchups.
Exactly. So it ain't a cherry pick. We wanted to see him with another fighter, but at the same time, this one you could say, all right, I'll take that. Dude got a good record, he a champion, they from the same area. It make business sense. I think Tank, other than Canelo, Tank is probably maybe the most like fighter where people excited to see across the world. So he get them kind of perks. So you can't. That's what the question you just asked me about business. That's a business move. When we said what's the difference between business to the business side of boxing.
Yeah.
Mickey Bay continued to express confidence in Gervonta Davis, predicting that Davis would win by stoppage in his upcoming fight. Bay recognized that Davis is in his prime, and it would take a fighter of Shakur Stevenson's caliber to pose a real challenge. He also mentioned his desire to have seen Davis fight Vasily Lomachenko, a matchup many boxing fans had hoped for. He added, I see Tank by stoppage, man. It's his time right now. It's going to take somebody like a Shakur. I would have liked to see him with Lomachenko. Haven Brady Jr. discussed his thoughts on the Gervonta Davis versus Lomant Roach fight, initially expressing surprise when he learned about the matchup. Brady had expected Davis to stay at 135 pounds and was also taken aback by Roach's decision to move up in weight to face a fighter as skilled as Davis.
When it said Gervonta Davis WBA title, so I knew they were gonna move it to 135, but I ain't know Lomant Roach was gonna move up and fight somebody like that. So I definitely think that's a good fight. I mean, I feel like Tank gonna break him down and probably stop him like he always do. But I feel like Lomant Roach, he can box pretty good, so it's gonna be a little harder.
He said, my thing is when people fight Tank, it's matter if they scared or not. If you go in there scared, he sees the fear in you, and it's a matter of time before he takes you out. Brady believed that if Roach entered the fight confident in his ability to win, it could make for a much more competitive bout. He also shared his hopes for the WBA 130-pound title to be vacated, allowing new contenders to step in after the match. He added, so if Lomant Roach going now with the thing of he trying to win, he the best guy, then it could be a long night. But I'm definitely hopeful that fight can happen, and hopefully the WBA 130 go vacate. Greg Hackett shared his personal experience watching Lomant Roach Jr. box, recalling times when Roach would come to Philadelphia to train and spar at Joe Hand's gym. Hackett emphasized that he's seen Roach in action multiple times and can vouch for his abilities, showing a strong belief in Roach's skill and readiness for big fights. He said, I've been watching Lomant Roach box for a while. They used to come to Philly and box at Joe Hand's all the time, so I have seen Lomant Roach a bunch of times and I can stamp him. Brady's analysis reflected his anticipation for the fight and his recognition of Davis's ability to dominate opponents who show fear in the ring. Boxing pros are stirring up a major debate about the upcoming Gervonta Davis vs. Lomant Roach fight, with some predicting a potential upset. Roach, stepping up from super featherweight to lightweight, will face Davis for the WBA 135 lb title on December 14th. If Roach wins, he'll have just 5 days to choose between the lightweight or super featherweight belt. However, if he loses, he must defend his super featherweight crown within 120 days.
You know, man, I think Lomant Roach is a really good fighter, man, a skilled boxer, damn good fighter for his weight division. But I just want to ask the hardcore Tank Davis fans, is this the fight that y'all wanted? Is this what y'all was looking for? This what y'all was willing to, ready to pay your money for? And this what y'all was clamoring for? I know it's a lot of Tank fans talking about, well, who else he was going to fight? I mean, I don't think Shakur Stevenson ever got an actual contract, an actual offer where you can accept it or turn it down.
Cigar Talk host Najee said, "Can't be mad at Tank versus Lomant Roach. Roach is a champion. Also, we can't forget Loma was the first option and ducked." He also added,
So it looks like Gervonta Tank Davis is going to bring up 130-pounder Lomant Roach. Look like they got some type of special permission from the sanctioning bodies to be able to bring him up, and he'd be able to hold his title and Tank defend his 135 title versus Lomant Roach.
Despite the business nature of this matchup, driven by local support along the East Coast, fans are disappointed that Davis is facing a fighter from the 130 LB division rather than top lightweight contenders. One fan commented, "Lomant Roach coming up from 130 to challenge Gervonta Davis is a trash fight, but I'm still gonna watch it like I watch every other boxing match." This fight is seen as a safer bet for Davis compared to the tougher challenges posed by other top contenders in the 135 LB division. The Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lomant Roach bout is being discussed as a potential fight for December 21st, sharing the card with the highly anticipated Tyson versus Usyk rematch. Many are weighing in on the choice of Roach as Davis's opponent, with some fans voicing disappointment, preferring to see Tank face stronger contenders at lightweight.
So, what do you think about Lomant Roach and him?
Oh man, that's a good fight. That's a real good fight. I would love to see that. That'll be a scrappy fight.
Kenny Ellis expressed excitement about the matchup, eager to see the two fighters go head-to-head. Ellis believes the fight will deliver an exciting showdown, showcasing their skills on a major stage.
Yeah, what's your take on Lomant Roach, man?
Tough kid from out of D.C. I like him. He remind me of a small version of Simon Brown.
Gervonta Davis continues to face criticism for selecting opponents that some believe he can easily defeat, prolonging his dominance in boxing. A fan, Lidra States, voiced their frustration on X, saying, "Gervonta, you wilding bro, I f*** with you heavy, but I'm dead-ass not watching this fight with Lomant Roach." Davis responded sharply, "Now shut the f*** up. Get back to whatever you were doing." This response disappointed many, as Davis has often faced opponents who considered it easier to match up. His most challenging fights, like those against Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios, included rehydration clauses to his advantage. While Davis is now willing to face Lomachenko at 36, many wonder why the match didn't happen years earlier when both fighters were at their peak. Santos, a natural 135-pound fighter, has a history of competing at lightweight, whereas Roach would be making his lightweight debut if his fight with Davis is confirmed. Gary Russell didn't hold back when sharing his feelings about Gervonta Davis, making it clear he wasn't impressed with how Davis has handled his career decisions. Russell expressed frustration with Davis's approach, even acknowledging that Tank isn't the only one responsible for his actions, but still made his personal feelings clear. He said, "I think Tank I know he ain't the only one that's been in charge of what's going on, but I think Tank That's my personal opinion." Gary Russell expressed frustration about not being contacted for a fight with Gervonta Davis, despite having the necessary connections. He felt that the fans were being misled by the way Davis and his team were framing the matchups. Russell criticized Davis for choosing opponents from the same area, implying that Tank was avoiding the real challenges. He added, "Tank ain't been in the contact with me and none of them been in contact with me to fight, but I mean I have contact information, I got their contact information, they got mine, you know what I'm saying? I mean, but the fans are the ones that's getting bamboozled by this goofy because at the end of the day, don't try to fight somebody from the city or from the area and make it seem like it's Baltimore versus the area when you really not fighting that motherfucking dog from the area." Rob Acosta shared his perspective on Gervonta Davis's fight options, explaining that while some may view the Lomant Roach matchup as a cherry pick, it's only due to the lack of better alternatives. He humorously compared it to his own childhood experiences of being picked last for basketball games because he wasn't as skilled.
I guess it would be considered a cherry pick if there were other more serious options. It's not a cherry pick if that's all that's left. Here's what I'm gonna say, right? It's kind of like when I used to, all right, nobody laugh when y'all see this fucking video, but this is like when I tried to play ball when I was young, right? Everybody got picked and I was the last motherfucker to get picked. You know what I'm saying? Because I just didn't know how to play basketball. And we played the Jones with the crates on the pole, right?
So I always got picked at the fucking last one. It wasn't because it was a cherry pick or no shit like that. It was like, all right, this boy ass, and then he's the only one that's left.
Rob Acosta discussed the options for Gervonta Davis's next fight, acknowledging that while Lomant Roach is a solid opponent, there might not have been many other choices left. Acosta expressed his preference for a matchup with Raymond Muratalla, but admitted that Roach stepping up to 135 pounds could still be a challenge. He said, "If all options are exhausted, then I mean, what the f*** you expect Tank Team to do, bro? Like this, he got to stay busy. I would like the Shakur fight more because I think that fight would be more entertaining. Lomant ain't sweet though, but him going up to 35 when Tank is the bigger guy." Rob Acosta continued to reflect on the potential matchup, noting that while Lomant Roach is a solid opponent, he believes Roach might be too small to truly challenge Gervonta Davis. He mentioned that a fight between Davis and Raymond Muratalla would have been more intriguing, given their similar southpaw stances and strong boxing abilities. He added, "Lomant Roach is a decent fight. I think he's a little too small for Tank. Shakur would have been a nice, interesting fight. Southpaw versus Southpaw, that would have been decent." As the reigning WBA lightweight world champion, Gervonta Davis has solidified his position at the top while attracting significant attention from other fighters, including Teofimo Lopez. Lopez, who has expressed interest in facing Davis, questioned his self-confidence when it comes to taking on elite opponents. Lopez said, "The main hole that they have, they don't believe in themselves. How many times did they say that Tank Davis was not ready for Loma, that they had to prep him? How many times did Mayweather have to speak for Gervonta Tank Davis? I'm just speaking facts." When asked about an old sparring session, Lopez explained that it didn't hold much meaning for him except for the fact that Davis fought a little dirty during their rounds. Lopez said, "We did 3 rounds, I was 15, he was 18, he was already a pro. It's different now, so much different, but I gotta say, I don't take no sh*." He was trying to make a couple excuses, but if he's hitting me on the back of the head, I'm hitting him on the back of the head. That's how it goes. If you're gonna fight dirty, I'ma fight dirty with you. Despite his criticisms, Lopez acknowledged Davis's talent and even claimed that he may be the only fighter capable of defeating him. Lopez added, "Tank ain't a pushover. I guess the only one that can really beat Tank is me. I guess I gotta do it. Nobody else can do the job." Lomant Roach, with 10 KOs and the WBA super featherweight title at 130 lbs, is moving up to 135 lbs to challenge Gervonta Tank Davis, who has 28 KOs, for his WBA secondary lightweight belt. Roach, once a rising star, had setbacks with a draw in 2018 and a loss to Jamel Herring in 2019. Despite holding a title, his recent performances haven't sparked much buzz. His most notable win was a split decision over Hector Luis Garcia, whom Davis knocked out earlier in 2023. Many see this fight as a chance for Roach to prove himself against a high-profile opponent like Davis. However, Davis's management has been criticized for matching him with lesser opponents, avoiding dangerous fighters in the division. The most anticipated fight for Davis remains against Shakur Stevenson, but ongoing talk suggests that Davis has been dodging that matchup. Stevenson's recent hand injury might have been a reason why Davis's team opted for Roach instead. Kenny Ellis, Gervonta Davis's coach, weighed in on Shakur Stevenson's upcoming fight against Joe Cordina, noting that Cordina's recent loss and hand surgery could make it easier for Stevenson. Ellis remarked, "I just heard he came off a loss and he had hand surgery as well on his right hand, so I don't know if he'll be 100% in the fight. I think Shakur can beat him easy." Now that Tank has chosen to fight Lomant, it is time for Roach to step up in weight and face a tough challenge against the powerful Davis, who remains confident in his dominance. The big question is, will Roach be able to rise to the occasion, or will Davis extend his reign? What do you think? Can Roach pull off an upset against Davis? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates on this exciting fight.